Hey, quick question. Do you play contemporary gospel music? Okay, then what about gospel quartet music? Well, are you interested? So cool, if you're a bass player and you answered yes or no to either one of these questions, stick around, I got something for you. I'm Jermaine Morgan, musician and producer, and I've been playing gospel music pretty much my whole musical life, and I've worked in gospel music with some of today's leading artists and some of the artists of old for over 15 years. And because of my experience, I have a pretty good idea of what gospel music should sound like. What I've done is I've taken all of these influences from contemporary music and gospel quartet music, and I've created some jam packs just for you. I've created one for contemporary gospel music to give you an idea of how to approach today's contemporary gospel. And I've also created one for gospel quartet to give you an idea of how to approach gospel quartet music, both old school and modern music. So in these packs, I've included my bass take so you can have a good idea of how I approached it from my perspective, but I also give you the bassless track so you can do your own thing. You can use these to upload videos on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you choose, whatever platform you choose to upload your videos. Or if you just want to jam out around the house, it's perfect for that as well. And get this, I've also included the sheet music and the tab if you need that little extra help. And if that's not enough, what I've done is I went a step further and I did instructional videos to show you guys if you're completely new to gospel music, gospel quartet, gospel contemporary music. I've created instructional videos to show you guys how to navigate through these tracks, even break down a few of the licks that I'm playing in these tracks to give you some ideas of what can work over these type grooves. So I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Thank you. I'm out. Peace. Good morning, everyone. Joining in for Grooves and Motivation Live this morning. I'm Jermaine Morgan. If you're new to the channel, I know I have to say that a few more times, but if you're new to the channel, I'm Jermaine Morgan. Happy to be here. Happy to have you guys listening and watching this morning. So hopefully everybody's well. Be sure to let me know, as I always say, let me know where you're watching in the chat. I love to hear from you guys. I'm going to jump into a little groove this morning as we're letting everybody wake up and get their coffee and get going, get the mat out of your eyes, depending on where you are in the world. For some of you guys, you've been up for a while, if you're around the world in different locations. But yeah, I had this little groove I was working out. I ain't really solid on it. Well, I ain't gonna say I'm solid on it, but we're just playing with some different stuff. Good morning, Mama. Charles, good morning to you. Uh, from the 215, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mississippi is in the building. Got two Mississippis in the building. Christian, good morning to you. Connor, good morning. Indiana is in the building. Let me see. All right, so who else we got? Chris is in the building, watching from China. Welcome, man. The Netherlands is watching this morning. Thomas, I am good, man. Can you guys hear that track? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Let me know you can hear that track all right. You should be able to, but just in case, we want to do some troubleshooting. Good morning. What's that? Clafont, if I'm saying that right, Clafont, Pennsylvania. Thank you for getting this brother to the world, Dr. Dr. Pegboy. Yeah, Charles, that's the reason, and everybody should be thanking her. Good deal. Good deal. Thank you, Zane. Glad that you guys can hear it. All right. So I had that little progression in my mind. We'll see where it goes. I might just kind of take the groove out or take the chords out, play to it a little while. I don't know. Morning, Floppy. Afternoon. Afternoon to you. Yes, sir. Glad to have you here. Zane says, I know a Charles Hardy here in Philly. I worked with him in King of Prussia. Charles, do I know you? Let's see here. Lemuel, what bass do you play? It's so lovely. This is a Isabella, Warrior Isabella bass. Signature, built by Warrior Basses. Roanoke, Virginia is in the building. Good morning to you, Kelvin. Morning to you. Lemuel, I hope I'm saying that correctly. All right. And good morning to everybody, man. Thank y'all for joining me this morning. We're gonna switch gears a little bit in the talk. When we get to the talk this morning, we're gonna switch gears just a little bit. It's something that's kind of been on my mind, and I wanted to share. All right. Sweet, I got it right. All right, that's a sad enough groove. All right, what we have here, I done missed a few of y'all's conversations. I think y'all just going at it at this point. All right, so let me see. Floppy says it's 12:45 over here in the UK. I missed a couple of things this morning. Miss J, good morning to you. I'm trying to go backtrack a little bit. Blimley feeling relaxed with this. I'm falling asleep, love, lovely play. I ain't trying to put you to sleep, man. Wake up. It's time to get going. All right, so good morning, Tiffany. Team Ramrod, good morning to you, sir. Jermaine and viewers. Zane, former Lockheed. Okay, all right, y'all. I think I read that one. You and Charles was kind of having a good moment there. Miss J, good morning to you. Floyd, good morning, sir. Fayetteville is in the building. Thank you. Uh, let's see here. What else I missed? What else did I miss? Trying to make sure that I get to everybody as much as I can. Tour, if I'm saying that correctly. Wow, that pickup setup is something else. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. If you're not a man, I apologize, but thank you. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, the pickup setup, I'm with that sound, I was kind of paying closer to that back pickup. So yeah, a lot of that is that the back pickup sound. That's like halfway. Charles says the envelope filter always gets me. Love that effect, man. Appreciate it. Any idea which one it is? You talking about the filter? The envelope filter is the MXR. MXR. If you guys been around for a while, you've heard me talk about everything that's on that pedal board that I'm using. But yeah, that filter that you heard is that MXR audio. Sorry, envelope bass envelope filter by MXR. Miss J says, I believe he called it MX. Yeah, there you go. You already got it. All right, so I think y'all is figuring out your own questions. Indonesia's in the building. Good morning to you from Georgia, where I am, in the USA. Thank you for being here. Emmanuel, like the name. All right, Ricky. Yes, sir. All right, so I don't want to waste a lot of time. I want to jump right into this discussion this morning. And you guys can keep dropping where you're watching from in the chat. It derives from author, great warmth and definition. Okay, I got you, Arthur. I got you. I just want to be. I'm a little bit off from the thumbnail, and I can't really tell. So I don't want to say anything. It's like, hey, hold on a minute. I'm not what I'm saying. So I just want to make sure I'm clear there. All right, the Philippines is in here. So thank you guys all for joining in this morning. I really appreciate you this morning. So the topic this morning I wanted to talk about is, put that instrument down for a minute. Put the instrument down. Philly is in the building. A few of my Philly folks are here this morning. Thank you guys for joining in. But put that instrument down. Put that instrument down for a second, just for a quick second. This thing here, it's so funny. I'm gonna be really, really transparent this morning. Well, I think I'm pretty transparent every Tuesday. I try to be in efforts to help somebody. And just really quick, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Jermaine Morgan. Obviously, I have bass lessons here on YouTube, and that's why I think most of you have came to this channel at some point for the bass lessons and that kind of thing. But more than that, we do grooves and motivation every Tuesday morning live. And so I enjoy sharing with you some tips and some things that I believe it will be really helpful and beneficial to you in your career, whatever it is you're trying to do, whether you're in the music industry or whatever it is you're trying to do in general. I believe I have something for people who are making life decisions and things to help you kind of navigate this musician world, especially for you guys if you are musicians. Again, you don't have to be musicians for this to be relevant to you, but majority of my audience that I speak to right now consist of musicians. And again, most of you are drawn here because you see a bass guitar or some type of instrument, and that's why you're drawn here. But again, I try to share things on this channel that I feel like will be beneficial to you in moving forward, not just in music, but in life as well. So with that being said, put the instrument down for a minute. This comes from, I told you guys I was going to be really, really transparent. Um, so we got this thing that we do with our kids called quality time. We made this agreement with them that each of them would, not that we don't ever spend time with them, but each of them would get their own time as they request it, or as we can work it into the schedule for them to spend time one on one with us to do whatever it is they're trying to do, like in terms of playing. And my daughter, I have two daughters, I have a son. Sometimes I'll go and play with him with his trucks or whatever, and then I play with my daughter. She has a little kitchen and she likes to make her food in her restaurant, what she calls it. She likes to make her pretend food. And so at times, most of the time when they call on us, they pull our card every time, for this quality time. But generally when they call on us is kind of when we're doing something. So we're in the middle of something. My wife and I were kind of trying to get something done. The crazy thing about being an entrepreneur is like your hours can be really crazy because you're not counting on a 9 to 5 from week to week to keep things rolling. Like these lights y'all see back here, I got to make sure that them joints stay on. So oftentimes, as scheduled and as strategic as I am, I'll find myself, sorry about that, I'll find myself uh, working long hours. And I don't really consider it, I mean, it's work, but I don't really consider it like hard work in terms of like I'm not out there breaking my back sweating. It's just things that I have to do, and I have to be really strategic about how I move. And there are some things even right now that I'm trying to do in my business that I literally feel like I just started school over. And I'm having so much demand on me as well as my regular things that I have to do. So I'm being pulled in every direction. And just on yesterday, getting back to the whole quality time piece, my daughter came to me and was wanting to do something, some quality time. And I was like, and I kept brushing her off. And I was like, well, I got this going on. I got this, I'm kind of busy right now. I'm kind of doing this and kind of doing that. And this morning that thing hit me. That thing hit me. And the reason why it hit me, I'm using my daughter for example, but I think the biggest reason why it hit me is because oftentimes we as musicians, we as business owners, we as people in general, we oftentimes work so hard to try to, if you have children, if you have a family, you're working so hard to try to create something or trying to sustain something for your people that you can almost not intentionally, but unintentionally forget about your people in the process. Forget about the fact that, okay, as much as I need you trying to make sure that I'm good, I also need you. I also need you to be present. And this talk is today, and forgive me, females that are on here, but this talk, and you don't have to log off because I really believe it's something helpful for everybody, but I'm really kind of gearing a lot of this towards my dudes, my guys, my fathers, my soon-to-be fathers, my fathers, you've been in this thing for a while. I'm gearing this towards men today because I really believe a lot of times we can drop the ball. With all good intentions, we drop the ball. Don't let us mess around and be musicians or some type of creatives. Especially if you don't have kids, you can fall into this trap of everything being about you. It's all self-centered. If I get on your toes today, just say ouch. Because trust me, I'm talking from a standpoint of being on my own toes. So if I get on your toes, don't take it personal. Just say ouch. You know what I mean? But we can take this standpoint of everything being about us, everything being about what it is we're trying to do, the goals we're trying to accomplish, my dream, my vision, everything that I see for myself. And of course, in your mind, if you have a family, it's like your family is included in that. But the majority of it is centered around you. If we be honest, the majority of it is centered around you. Somebody, Zane says, ouch, I got you, man. But the majority of it is centered around you, if we were to be honest. Everything you're trying to do, think about your playing. Some of you have entered into lessons and all these different things, and you're trying to get better. And you're spending the time with my students. I try to get them to put in at least 10 hours per week of practicing. And I know for some people that's not a lot. If you don't have a lot of obligations, like 10 hours, I can get that. I can do that in a day for some people. But for other people, when you have a family, when you have a job, a regular 9 to 5, you have other obligations. Some of you guys are involved in ministry or other things you're trying to do, and you're trying to juggle it all. And those 10 hours can be a bit of a stretch. And so now looking at that, you're looking at, hey, what do I take away from? And oftentimes, our family is the ones who take the hit, because my job can't wait. And I've been putting my dreams off so long, they can't wait. And this ministry thing, they demand a lot out of me, and I have to keep up an image. I have to keep up a perception that I'm always the guy that you can call for anything. So I'm a really dependable guy, and I don't want anybody to think they can't depend on me. But at the same time, I make all these other people promises, and I keep the promises to the other people that I make. But to my family, they have to understand that I'm being pulled in all these different directions. And my family has to be the one who is always having to be understanding of everything else that I have going on and everything else that I'm trying to do. Because remember, I'm doing all this for y'all. So if you pull on me too much, now you're being selfish. I know I'm on my toes. If I ain't on yours, I know I'm on mine. So, you find yourself in this dilemma, like, wait a minute. Something is not making sense. If I'm doing all of this trying to create and trying to sustain something, you would think the people that I'm doing it for would be the ones who benefit the most from what it is I'm doing. So every now and again, I have to pull myself to the side, talk to me, and like, yo, Jay, you got to look at this thing, because something is out of balance here. That person or that thing shouldn't be getting more of your time than these people who need you, these people that you've been charged to develop. These people who've you've been trusted, they've been trusted to you. It's a gift, man. I've learned this. I've only been a parent for 9 years, but of 3, and I've learned a lot through those combined 9 years. I don't have it all figured out. And according to my mom, if she's still on here, you never figure it all out. You're still learning. She said she's still trying to learn how to be a parent to a 38 and a 40-year-old. I think my brother's either 40 or 41. I can't remember. But anyway, she's still trying to figure out how to be a parent to us at an older age. And I know some of you guys can identify. You never really figure it all out. But I think if we can keep refining, I heard something so powerful this morning. It was something simple, though. It's like if the iPhone can get 10, 11, 12 upgrades, how many do you think you need? How many do you think you deserve? Oftentimes, we make people accept us for who we are. And what's so messed up about that is we still figuring out who we are, because it's constantly evolving. You're constantly changing. Who you were 10 years ago is not the same person you are today. Most of us, if we're in a method of, or in the process of always trying to better ourselves. And I believe if you're watching me this morning, you're a person who cares about bettering yourself, because if you didn't, once I finished playing, you would have logged off, as I'm sure a few people did. But the fact that you're still sitting here means you're someone who cares about bettering themselves. So that means whoever you are today, you're probably not going to be that same person. Good morning, Stephen. And Afri, if I'm saying that correctly, good morning to you. Zambia is in the building. I don't want to get lost on what I'm saying, but good morning to you guys who are joining in. If you haven't spoke or if you hadn't put your name in the chat, good morning to you. I see you. Now, the thing is, again, we should be developing. This phone can get an upgrade. Apple has enough sense. What's the other one? I just do Apple, so I forget about y'all y'all other carriers out there. But you know what I'm saying? All these different, the droids, all these different people have sense enough to know these developers. They give you a new software. This morning, the streaming software that I did this morning, there was an update available. I'm like, I just did an update like a month ago for this thing. Yeah, but there's another update available. So how much are you updating you? How much are you looking at the bugs from last month that should have been fixed? Or the bugs from last year, some things that your family brought to your attention that they don't like. You have a daughter, you have a son, and they've asked us some things of you, and they've been um, honest enough to come to you and talk to you about how they feel, but you didn't upgrade anything from last month or from last year. Think about it. Or who's brought something to your attention, maybe on your job, and you just didn't like what they said. So I've heard there's some truth in every lie. So when people are talking about you all the time, not everything they're saying is the truth, but on the same token, not everything that they're saying about you is a lie or a story, for better words. I don't really say that. So you have to really analyze what people are saying and really take the meat and spit out the bones. Is there some truth to what's being said here? Well, you're like, just say if your wife or your son or your daughter or somebody says, you're a little aggressive when you talk. Well, I'm only doing, most of the time when we do this type stuff, we naturally defend who we are and we naturally defend our intentions. But what if you took a second to look at what it is? Or somebody say the opposite thing. You're kind of passive when people talk to you. No, I'm just trying to be humble. No, you're just being passive. It's a difference. I was guilty of it. I would be very, very passive with people in the name of being humble. But meanwhile, I'm burning up on the inside and I'm really want to tell some people what I really think about them. But there's a way to do that without getting out of character, without being disrespectful. But I didn't know that until I started really learning more about me, learning more about my tendencies, learning more about these things. In other words, I was looking at some bugs that needed to be fixed. And I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and click accept for this upgrade. But the difference in that phone, the technology in this phone, the developer, the developer is the one who gives the upgrade to this phone. But you have to, what do you have to do? You have to plug it up. You have to plug this phone into something. You have to plug this phone into some type of source of power in order to download new information. That means a lot of this stuff that was there before is going to be deleted and recreated in some type of way. You're not going to lose your pictures and all that kind of stuff, but there's going to be some things that's corrupt in your phone that need to be done away with. So I need to be able to update this information, but you have to be plugged into a source, because what's coming into this update, or into this phone rather, what's coming into it is so powerful that if you don't plug it into something, it's going to kill it. It's going to shut it off. Some of you are following what I'm saying before I say what I'm saying. You have to be plugged into some type of source as you try to update, because if you try to do it on your own, if I try to update my phone by going downloading some random software on the internet that doesn't compare or is not compatible with Mac, I might get an update, especially y'all crack phones, you know what I'm saying? I might get an update, but it might not be what I want. I remember my PC back in the day. I'm using all Macs now, but I had some PCs back in the day, and no shade to PC, but you have to be careful with what you add to that computer, because there's so many different developers out there that those computers were susceptible to viruses really quick. So you had to be really careful. You could be downloading something and it's very innocent, and the next thing you know, your joint is moving slow. You're getting pop-ups and all this type of different stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, I didn't even put that in there. Yeah, but something that you tried to download on it was the wrong stuff. It was from the wrong developer. It wasn't the right person. It wasn't the right person. It wasn't the right source. It wasn't the right source. So you have to make sure that you're plugged into the right source, because, as I started kind of even going back to the scenario with my daughter, there are oftentimes things that you get even with your phone. You get notifications especially if you got an iPhone. You get notifications that there's an update available or there's an update on the way. There's a new update coming. There are notifications. There are things to let you know, hey, it's time for an update. So throughout your life, I'm pretty sure you're getting notifications, you're getting warnings that it's time for an update. But majority of the time, what we do because of pride and that type of thing, we ignore. We ignore those updates. We ignore those updates. And oftentimes it bleeds over into our lives. It bleeds over into our connections. If you are in a band, sometimes it bleeds over into the unit. It bleeds over into the music that you're playing. Sometimes I've said this before. There are some certain musicians that I hear and I can hear arrogance when they play because those things that are in them bleed over into the other thing, bleed over into the other apps. You ever notice? We're gonna keep it on the phone. You ever notice when your phone needs an update, or when your phone is getting a little old, or it's a little low on what it needs? Your apps start running slow. You could normally scroll through that app and move really quickly, but now all of a sudden this thing is taking forever to open. You know what I'm saying? It's like I blamed it on the whole thing. Like, man, Apple doing this. They slowing these phones down on purpose, which they are. We know they are. But the point is, they're doing that because they're trying to convince you to get something new. You need to get an upgrade. What you have is going to stop working after a while because all of the software and all of the technology that we're creating, we're making all the old stuff that you know obsolete. It's making all what you know obsolete. There's a verse I heard this morning, and I was listening to something this morning, and it blew me away. You know, we've all heard the verse, train up a child in the way that they should go. When they grow old, they will not depart from it. And somebody explained that, Mike Todd, matter of fact, I was listening to this thing when he was talking, and he described it in a different way, and it blew me away because I never thought about it that way. You know, sometimes you can be trained in a way or brought up in a way and you think that is right. Because who's really there to define it? Once you're brought up in a certain way, it's like, man, my daddy used to do this, and my mom used to do this all the time, and that's the way we do it, and that's the way we've always done it. And they're not gonna, if that's a child that's being trained up in that way, they're not gonna depart from that. Even if they get away from it for a little while, they'll come back to that training that they got. We look at it from a spiritual standpoint in the Bible, like, well, train up a child in the way they should go, thinking, well, if I teach my child to read the Bible and to do all this, and then, yeah, you're teaching them that. That's good, some of you. But at the same time, what else are you teaching them that's not that? What other bad habits, what other bad things are you putting into them when they're really young? What habits or what things are they hearing you say? How are they hearing you, if you are a father, how are they hearing you talk to their mom, your son, your daughter? How are they hearing you speak? How are they seeing you interact with their mother? Or if you're a lady, if they're seeing you interact with their father, that's setting a model for them in terms of, oh, this is the way I should do this. This is the way this is how a family looks. So you have dysfunction that's passed down from one generation to the next generation because nobody is seeing any problems. Nobody is upgrading anything. We're all passing down information from what's the first phone, maybe a Nokia, you know what I'm saying? Imagine if everybody was passing down the information that was in the Nokia to the iPhone, to the BlackBerry, if anybody's still using BlackBerry, to the Droid, all these different things. Imagine that information. Let's go back to the rotary phone. Whatever technology was there for the rotary phone, let's use that and try to make this iPhone work like it's supposed to in this world. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some core values of the phone. The meaning of the phone, or the reason for the phone being created, is for a person that's somewhere else to communicate with a person that's over here. Now, that core value is still there. I'm not saying do away with all of the core values, the things that are necessary to make a person stable or to keep a person structured or set on solid ground. But there are some other things that you've made part of your core values that are not serving you well. There are some other things that have been passed down in family that you're keeping as part of your core values, and you're wondering why your daughter is not staying married. Your son is not staying married. Why divorce rates and all that type of stuff are higher than they used to be. Some of the core values are wrong, and they keep being passed down. What does this have to do with your instrument? Well, you keep upgrading your playing. You're paying for lessons. You're doing all of this type of stuff to improve. You're on YouTube, you're learning all of this stuff, but the personal part of who you are and your family. Because I'm the type of person, you can go to anybody and get some good bass lessons, because that's, it's a lot of great teachers on here. But my stance and where I am, I care about the overall well-being of the person. It doesn't do me any good to make sure that you become a great musician and you suck as a mother and suck as a father. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not my job to teach anybody. Everybody on here grown to a certain degree, I would imagine. So I'm not trying to tell you how to run your house or tell you any of that stuff. But I know part of my purpose is to bring some of these things to your attention, to wake up something, because I might be the only person you listen to in this regard. Everybody else is going to tell you what you want to hear. But if you were to seriously go and assess yourself, do you think it's time for upgrade? Do you think it's time that you put your instrument down for a second and give your daughter some quality time? Do you think it's time that you sit down for a second and put that business on hold for a second? Give your wife, your family, some of your time, some of your attention, some of your undivided attention. Again, don't get offended. I'm talking to me. And you mean well, and you're doing all good stuff. And people should commend you for how hard you're working, because you're working really hard. You're doing a lot. You're doing a lot that you don't even get commended for. And so let me do this while I'm saying all this other stuff. Good job. Good job. You're doing a really, really good job. You're doing a really good job, and nobody sees the effort. Nobody sees the work that you put in, but you're doing a really good job. And you wish somebody would acknowledge, and I'm acknowledging that you're doing a really, really good job in terms of the work that you're putting in, the grind, all of that stuff that you're trying to do to get better. And you're playing. You're even trying to work on being a better family person. But even in that, even in all you're getting, are you truly understanding everything that you're not getting right? Or are you fully understanding the why? Are you fully understanding the why? My brother told me this story. My brother is a truck driver, and celebrated truck driver, very successful in what he's doing. And he told me this story. He talked to this truck driver, older guy, doing really well, had a really, really nice truck. And the guy said he had a family and all this and all that. And he was saying he had, and I want to make sure that I tell the story right, but he had some daughters, and he got everything for them. I mean, he stayed out on the road and worked and worked and worked to make sure he gave them everything that they needed. And his daughters were kind of bitter at him, and he didn't really understand it. And once he finally sat down and talked to them, they said, "Daddy, yeah, you gave us everything, and that was nice, but it would have been nice to have you at home." That's the dilemma as a father, man. And it's a hard place, because as a father, your thing as a good father, and you trying to be a good father, your thing is like, man, I want to give them something I never had. I want to make sure that their life and their way of living is better than what I had. Not to say what you had might have been bad. Some of you guys might have came from a decent standpoint, or a decent family, or a decent upbringing. You know what I'm saying? My parents did the best that they could with what they had, and I commend my parents for doing that. I didn't have my biological dad in the house, but I had a great stepfather that was in the house with me, who stepped in, who did a really great job with trying to be there, with trying to, doing this stuff as a father. But even in that, all of us have some broken areas in us. Even people who had a father that stayed in the house with them. I'm even noticing as a father, I thank God for the opportunity for me to see myself, that I could be possibly creating some broken areas in my kids, simply because I'm trying so hard. And that's the messed up thing about it. You're really working hard to do great things, but if you're not careful, you could make the thing that you're doing more important than the thing you're doing it for. I was talking to this group that I consult last week, and we were having a talk about some different things concerning ministry and working in ministry and playing and flowing and all this different thing. And one of the things I said, oftentimes in ministry, we can be so busy doing ministry that we forget about God. Let that sink in for a second. You can be so busy doing something for someone that you actually forget about the person you're doing it for. You forget about him. Like, when the last time you talked to God? When the last time you prayed? When the last time you got on your face, cried out to God and said, you know what? Because here's the other thing that I shared. You can become so good at what you do in terms of your grind. If you're working in ministry, if you're working in whatever the job you do, you become so good at what you do that you feel like, I don't need to upgrade. I'm sweet. I know what I'm doing. I know how to go through my phone. I know how to open all the apps. I know how to do all this stuff. I know how to charge my phone when it gets low. I know how long my phone will last when it gets low. I know all of this stuff, so I don't need no upgrade. I'm sweet. But the manufacturer of the phone says, no, I don't care how sweet you are. You need an upgrade. Everybody needs an upgrade. Matter of fact, I'm going to make it so simple. All you have to do is press a button and leave it alone, plug it up to the source. Let the phone sit. Don't answer no text messages. Don't open no Instagram, no Facebook, no YouTube, no TikTok, none of that stuff. Leave the phone alone and allow the upgrade to happen. So what does that mean for us as individuals, us as fathers? Sometimes you need to disconnect from everything. You need to unplug this thing. You need to disconnect from everything, everybody. Get by yourself. Get plugged into the source, the creator, God, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? You need to get plugged into the source and get the new upgrade. Because it's not going to come by osmosis. It's not going to naturally happen. I'm just, hate to tell you, but it's not going to naturally happen that way. You have to stop. You have to unplug. One of the things when I stepped away from serving, and I don't want to say this in a negative sense, but, I was playing for this church and doing music director, blah, 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 doing all this stuff for 12 years. And I've been playing in church ever since I've been playing. Since I was 12 years old, I've been playing in somebody's church and been serving, working, doing all this stuff. But one of the things when I finally stepped away and said, you know what, in this season, I'm not playing at nobody's church. I don't mean no harm. I don't love God any less, but I need to stop for it. I'm not telling you guys to do this. I'm talking about me personally. When I stopped, I saw how much I had drifted away from the person that I was doing all the work for. I saw how much I was disconnected. Because there's a verse that says, my sheep know my voice, and a stranger they will not follow. And when you start listening to all this other stuff, all these other people, all these other influences, even preachers, even ministers, all these different people who, quote unquote, are hearing from the source, one of the things we forget to realize, we have a power cable too. You see what I'm saying? We can plug up too. We can simply plug in ourselves. We can simply chill, stop everything we're doing. You don't have to keep listening to everybody getting all this information. You can stop, quiet yourself, and listen and see, you know what are you saying to me? What upgrade are you trying to give me? Just like this morning, it was 4:20. I woke up about 4:30 this morning, but I heard it so clear in my head. I was just getting pictures and it was replaying in my head so clear. That's not right. She came to you. She asked for some of your time, but you were too busy. You were too busy working. You were too busy trying to do this. You were too busy trying to do that. And it was innocent. You didn't mean any harm. But does that mean, just like, here's a better example. The person that dropped their soda and they was trying to clean their soda and ran through that stop sign and hit that family and killed that child, they didn't mean any harm. They had something that happened and they was trying to take care of it. They weren't even trying to focus on no soda at the moment. It fell over. It wasn't their fault. It just fell. Something happened. They hit a bump. It spilled, and now they're trying to deal with something, and all of a sudden they lose control of the car. Bam, hit somebody. Somebody's dead. It wasn't their fault. But you still got to deal with those consequences. You still have to deal with the consequences of what it is that just happened, even though you didn't mean to do it. You meant well, but now when it comes back to you, how do you resolve this thing? Well, I have to sit and I have to get an upgrade to figure out what's the best fix for this situation. Because if I go do this, I'm not getting any answers. I'm like this the whole time. I'm not getting any answers. I'm getting ideas. And then I'm going to move on to something else. I'm going to move on to something else. But it's something about when you quiet yourself and you force yourself to stop. Let me put this bass down. Let me turn this music off. Let me turn the world off and turn the source on so I can hear what I need in order to start moving forward and getting the things that I need. So I can give this family that's been trusted to me, so that I can give them the real version of who I am. Because there's a better version of me. It's probably going to be next month or next year. You know what I'm saying? There's a better upgrade that's coming. But if I don't do the next necessary steps and quiet myself, I can't get the upgrade. So now they have to keep dealing with a same messed up version of me year after year. And then you hear statements like, well, you know, that's the way he is. That's the way daddy is. Daddy's just like this. Daddy's just like that. That shouldn't be your story. That shouldn't be your story. It shouldn't be, that's how daddy is. There should always be progression. There are things, core values about you that shouldn't change. There's something about you. There's a pillar, a foundation that shouldn't move, that everybody knows now. This is who Jermaine is. This is who Floyd is. This is who Angel is. This is who Dalton is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm reading y'all name. You know what I'm saying? But there should be some core values about you that remain. But there's some stuff that you brought from an old technology that you don't need. That's stuff you're trying to carry forward that you don't need it. And that's why I believe that a lot of families are broken. A lot of kids outside of rebellion are rejecting certain things that we're trying to instill, because some of the things we're saying are not matching up with what we're doing. Not that what we're saying is not some good stuff, but when you don't match it with what you're doing, it's hard for me to receive from you. So now I got to go to somebody else who actually looks like they mean what they say, because you keep your word to everybody else but me. So I don't know if I can listen to you. And oftentimes, a friend of mine, we talked about this many, many years ago. I was reminded of it recently, but we talked about this many, many years ago. But for you guys who are believers, oftentimes our view of our Heavenly Father is affected by our view of our earthly fathers. That's why I say this talk is for men. We have to be really, really careful of what we represent to our kids and to our family. Because your kids are going to either be, let me say it again, your kids are either going to want to be just like you, or they're going to not want to have anything to do with you or how you are as a person. They're going to do their best to try to be nothing like you. Woo! Imagine that. You do all you can to try to keep a family together and do all of this stuff, and your kids don't want to have anything to do with you, and they don't want to be anything like you, because you didn't represent everything you talked about, because you refuse to get an upgrade. You are always right because you know everything. I come here and I try to be transparent in hopes to help somebody, not to come to you guys as a know-it-all, like I have it all figured out, because I don't. I'm just as messed up as I'm sure most of you guys on here are. 98, 99.9% of you guys are who are watching me. You have some type of problem. You have some type of issue that you're trying to work through beyond this instrument. You know what I'm saying? Good morning, Peely. Good morning, Steven, and everybody else who is watching. We have some type of issues that we're working through. And so, again, I don't come to you as someone who's perfect. I just come to you to put something on your mind to think about. Because I understand, I see it so much in the musician community. There's so many broken families over this last year. And these are really, really great people, great musicians, and broken families. Broken families, really great musicians. Who cares how good you play if your son goes out and kills himself because he didn't feel like you cared about him? Who cares how good you play if your daughter is abducted and lured into something that she shouldn't be doing because she don't feel the love of a father at home, so she starts looking for that love of a father outside of her home because she don't know what the love of a father really looks like. And now, because we've done such a great job with showing her what love looks like, she rejects the love of God, because if My dad is not consistent with want to have time for me. Why would God listen to me when I pray? That thing hit me. Why would God listen to me when I pray if my own father doesn't have time to hear me when I want to talk to him? Even though it's not the same, it's our view of the Heavenly Father based on what we've experienced through our earthly father. Even some of you who are listening to me today, you have a hard time praying because of your relationship with your earthly father. You felt like he didn't listen, or maybe he was present, or he was in the house, but he was never present. Or maybe you felt like you could never please him, or you never could get his attention. You could never live up to whatever standard. Maybe you got a great dad and you feel like, man, I'll never be the man that he was. And so you're always feeling immeasurable to your father. Whatever your case may be, whatever your story is, it taints your view of the Heavenly Father because you feel like, yeah, nah, I'm not good enough. I'm not qualified. I'm not this. I'm not that. And so we do all these things and we talk ourselves out of the upgrades that we could receive because we don't want to hear it. We just keep scrolling. We keep scrolling on Instagram. Whatever the latest thing is that catches our attention, we go with that and we stick with that because this is a little bit more interesting than what you're talking about. Because what you're talking about, your upgrade requires a little pain. It requires a little shedding away of something. It requires a little embarrassment for me to go back and humble myself and say, you know what? I'm sorry. I should have stopped what I was doing yesterday because you're more important than what I was doing. And I don't ever want you to feel like you're not. I don't ever want you to feel like you're not important. But oftentimes, us as fathers, we drop the ball in that regard because we're trying so hard to build something that the very thing that we're trying to build, we're in the back chiseling away at the foundation. And we're letting other things chisel away at that very foundation of the thing we're trying to build. We're buying paint. We getting 2x4s from Home Depot and Lowe's. You know what I'm saying? We putting in new sink fixtures. We're doing all of this different stuff. But when we go in that back room, we got just a little jackhammer in there, just going at it, drilling into that foundation, and we don't even know it. And then we put the carpet back over it. The biggest reason is because our foundation is broken. We won't get the upgrade. So we're not allowing our kids, we're not allowing our families to get the best version of us, to break a cycle of something that's been going on for years. I'm good on being whatever musician that people perceive me as being. I refuse to be a public success and a private failure, me personally. I can only speak for me. So, I told you guys for a minute, I'm on this road to 40,000 followers. That's just simply because I'm seeing the numbers. But if not another person, I know I say bad English, if not another person subscribe to me, I'm okay. As long as those 3 people, those kids that have been trusted to me and my wife that are there, that's in my house, they see value in me and they continue to carry out something that I've birthed and I've placed into them from my good example and from my continuously trying to better myself, I'm good on what the world thinks. I hope the world is inspired, but I'm not moved that much by when a person subscribes and unsubscribes. I can't add one measure to my life with that, but these other people who are going to carry on something that's far more valuable, like a legacy, they deserve a little bit more from me. And I don't think I do a terrible job. I'm not, hopefully, with everything I'm saying, let me lighten it up a little bit. Hopefully, you guys don't think I'm out here just wilding out and I'm not parenting my children. No, it's not that. But even in that little thing, it can make a big impact. Because it's not the big boom that breaks something up or tears something down. Like when they do demolition, and I'm not a demolition expert, but when they destroy all these buildings and all this kind of stuff, you see a sequence of explosives go off. They blow up the floors. So they blow one floor up at a time. And before you know it, that whole building comes down. But it's one thing one little thing happening. It's one little explosive here, one little explosive there, one little explosive over here. We're going to put one over here in this corner. Now we're going to go up to the next floor. We're going to do it. And we're going to continue to spread all these little explosives. So my thing is, how many explosives do you have going off in your life that you're ignoring? And before long, your whole thing is about to crumble because you won't stop and upgrade. Right? All right, let me let me go through some of these comments. And I pray that you guys hear my heart with what I'm saying. If you're getting bored or if you're getting, yeah, I ain't, this ain't for me. I make no apologies about what I'm saying because I know that this is necessary. I know that this is necessary. Um, let's go back. Floyd says the iPhone analogy. Yes, sir. Um, this hits home right now. Zachary says this hits home for him. I'm glad that this is hitting home. It hit home for me, so I'm glad to know that I ain't the only one out. Y'all don't leave me out here by myself. Team Ramrod says this is real, Jermaine, and so true. We all need upgrades. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, let me keep going. Let me keep going up. See what I missed this morning. And if you guys have any thoughts, and you can feel free to share them in the chat, or if you're watching this in the replay, be sure to share your thoughts. And if you want to list out some things, you know what? I've been seeing and I've been getting the notifications about I need upgrades in this area and I'm going to upgrade. You don't even have to tell what it is. Just say I'm going to upgrade. Just make a commitment, not to me, but a commitment to yourself that you're going to start doing the necessary things to upgrade for the sake of you, for the sake of your family, for the sake of your children, if you have them, for the sake of your future children, because they deserve the best version of you, not some old washed up Nokia from 1999. They don't deserve that. They deserve the best version of you, right? No shade to Nokia. I'm just saying. All right, Kevin says, preach on. Yes, sir, you have to be plugged in or you may not get too far. Absolutely. Tiffany says, I like what you said about the upgrade, and this means I need a new base. Yeah, you need to get a new base too. Absolutely. Dalton says, Bishop Dr. Morgan, you're preaching right now. Angel says, God bless you, brother Morgan. Man, Angel, bless you, sir. God sent his only son so that we could have direct access to him to plug into the source. You got that right, Doc. Peely says, good morning, everybody. I think I already acknowledged that, just in case I didn't. All 10 toes. Zane said, I'm on all 10 toes. Yes, sir. Team Ramrod, I see you. The director says, good morning. Such a great word. This is a wake-up call. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Team Ramrod, it's a tongue twister. Men, I encourage us to be fathers to our children or mentors to those who don't have fathers. Absolutely, man. You said something there. I'm going to upgrade. Absolutely. Going to upgrade. I appreciate you guys dropping that in the comments. I say it myself. I'm going to upgrade. I'm just going to type upgrade. I'm going to type it. I'm going to put it on the screen. That way you guys can see that I'm as committed to what I'm saying as you guys are saying that you are. But going back to the statement by Team Ramrod, me and I encourage us to be fathers to our children and or mentors to those who don't have fathers. That's so, so important. So if you don't have kids, some of you guys are great mentors. You're great examples. I have some really, really close friends of mine who don't have children, but just stand up guys. I mean, just stand up, really, really great guys. And, I just see the example that they set for the people that are around them. I'm not saying that they're perfect, but the example that they try to set for the young people who are connected to them, the young people who are in their life, just really, really excellent examples, I think, of men. And and it's so funny, some of these guys are broken themselves. They're broken themselves, but in the face of that adversity, in the face of that opposition, they're deciding, you know what, I'm not going to continue to spew this brokenness out to other people. I'm going to give the best version of myself to these people who are around me because they deserve an example. Just because their father wasn't in their life don't mean I can't be an example. I had a great example through my stepfather. He did the best he could to try to represent something to me that, was missing. You know what I'm saying? My dad and I, my biological dad and I are now building a better relationship. But at the time, that hadn't always been the case. But I thank God that I had somebody who stepped in and who started showing me stuff. And it's so funny, the things that I took away from watching my stepdad, a lot of the things, I mean, I took away a lot of things he said, but it was more so the things that he done that stood out to me. So I'm saying this again to men, to be aware, not so much of what you're talking about, what you're saying, but the things that you're displaying. There are things that I've seen him do, and I do it now. My family sees me do it now. He wouldn't pass a person up on the road. He couldn't do it for whatever reason. He would always stop. He would always stop. He had to help somebody. You know, if somebody having some car trouble or something like that, he had to pull his car over. It's like we'd be ready to go to wherever we was. Like, oh man, here goes somebody on the side of the road. Now we gotta stop. You know, so you being a child or whatever the case may be, you're looking at it as we got another person we got to fool with. But looking at it now, it's like, man, that humility and that kindness, that good Samaritan attitude where you're stopping and you're putting the needs of others over yourself. I saw that in him. I saw the things that he would do concerning other people, even the way that he cared for my mom. Again, not perfect, but the attempt that was made to care for my mom. Even now, I know my mom is in good hands. And I'm not there. I don't live in Mississippi with my mom, but I don't sleep worrying and praying that from one night to the next that she's going to be okay. I know, I just have that confidence from what I've seen, from what he's shown me, that she's in good hands. And so being able to have that and to be able to show a child that or be able to show someone that and be that example for those people, it's like it means a lot. One of the things that my family and I had done for years, we haven't posted a video in a while, but some of you guys who follow us closely, you follow the family channel as well. We wanted to display positive black families. And in the black community, sometimes that's rare to see. Not saying that they don't exist, because there's a lot of them that exist. But oftentimes, what's displayed on social media doesn't show us in our better light. It often shows a lot of drama. It often shows a lot of dysfunction, and all of that stuff is highlighted. So with our family doing our vlog, what we wanted to show, not somebody being fake, we wanted to show, no, not everybody out here is dysfunctional. You know, we have a functional family that's normal, and we love each other. I love coming home to my family. I love coming home to my wife, and we ain't in here tearing each other's heads off every day. And so there are families who look, if there's a young black kid or a young black lady who's a young black man who's watching us, they can see, you know, not everything is just a loudmouth, you know, stereotypical person talking to another person, and they're always bickering, going back and forth, and we're all doing all kind of crazy stuff. That's not the norm for everybody. And there are people who are out here doing the necessary thing. We wanted to display that. And I think even more so than being on social media and showing it, it's important to show it in your own home to your kids. You know, my wife and I are not perfect. There's sometimes we have some disagreements, but at the same token, we allow our kids to see us or hear us say, you know what, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Or I said something I shouldn't have said. Or my voice tone was probably a little more aggressive than it should have been. And I'm sorry. I'm saying that to your mother. So you hear me apologize. You hear how to fix the problem. Because in most of our childhoods growing up, you know, we know mom and dad were still together. You heard them fight, or maybe you didn't hear them fight. You don't know how they fixed it. You just know, okay, all right, I guess everything cool. We argued, that's normal, and then tomorrow everything is okay. But you don't know how to fix the problem because your child didn't see any making up. Most of us, we didn't see that. We didn't hear the word "I'm sorry" a lot in our homes. So instead of passing that down, won't we upgrade? I challenge you who are left watching me, if you're trying to be better, if you're trying to do better, I challenge you, if there is a disagreement today in your home, if some of you guys are watching me and you got beef with your significant other, your wife, your husband, your children, I challenge you to go apologize today. I challenge you to go apologize today. I challenge you to do it today. Tomorrow ain't promised to anybody. Jesus is your Lord, your Savior, and allow him to do an upgrade in you. I know some people are going to get offended by this, and this is not for you. Maybe not right now. Come back to it when you're unoffended. Watch it again and see if you get anything different from it. You know what I'm saying? But if you're falling away, if you are a believer, because I know I talk to a lot of worship pastors, a lot of worship leaders, a lot of musicians who serve in ministry. If you are a person who are serving, you're serving your ministry, but you've drifted so far away from God, being led away by your own selfish desires, your own sinful desires, your own lust, these things in your heart that are not serving you, come back to God. Get on your face before him. Turn that phone off. Put that bass down. Put that instrument down. Turn that music off. You're going to learn that song, but you ain't got to learn it right now. Get on your face before God. Tomorrow ain't promised to you. There's no guarantee you're going to see the light of day tomorrow. No guarantee that I will. So why not do it now? I know this ain't normally what you guys get on this channel, but this is me being authentic to who I am. I make no apologies about it. Left and right. Some of you even lost family members. I've lost 2 aunts in the past 3 months. Not to COVID, but I've lost 2 aunts. Time don't care nothing about what you got going on. Time don't care anything about that. Life is going to keep going on. And guess what? Your kids are hanging in the balance for you and your pride. Don't lose your kids because you're trying to be prideful and hold on to something that's not real. Hold on to some old tradition that is not serving you and is definitely not serving them. Don't lose your kids. Don't lose your wife. Don't lose your husband to pride because you won't change who you are because you feel like I'm sweet. All right? You be sweet out here by yourself. Your business will thrive and you'll get everything that you're going for business-wise. But it's lonely as all get out when you're sitting there by yourself. And you know you could have done something to change it, but you refuse to because you had too much pride. I don't know about you, but I know what I'm about to go do when I get off of this live concerning my family. I challenge you all to do the same thing. Listen, I don't have anything else for this. I think I've said enough, and I just challenge you to do some self-reflection, to do some introspect. Look at you. Look at you. Turn your phone off today. You know? Turn your phone off today and see is there anything else you need to do. I'll read just one last comment, and I'm gonna jump off. Tiffany says, being single makes it easy to know who I am doing this for. I would not have pursued music without his direction. In each season, he reminds me that it has been his leading all along. Him being God, Jesus Christ. Absolutely. And that's good. That's good to know. If you do know that, that's good to know. And but there are so many of us who maybe are single and are not single. I think the biggest wake-up call for me is the fact that I thought I was straight. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. It's like that low-key self-righteousness. And I don't mean that in a negative connotation where you think you're better than everybody else. I don't mean it that way. But you think you're doing all the right stuff. Man, I'm learning my songs. I'm at church on time. I'm keeping my word to people. I'm doing all this. But God is saying, when am I going to get some quality time? Like my daughter asked me, can I get some of your time? Because we can be doing all the right stuff, but are we forgetting about the person that we're doing it for? Just want to leave that thought with you. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'm Jermaine Morgan, and this has been Grooves and Motivation Live. I hope this has been really helpful to you. And if it has, be sure to share this with somebody. Be sure to share this with someone. Give this to someone who needs this. Share this with a father. Share this with a parent. Share this with an expecting parent. Anybody that you know that needs this, be sure to share this. Italy, I see you in the building. Thank you guys so much for joining in. I got to go. Much love to you. Peace.